Okay, sorry I haven't been uploading as often as I'd like to. One word, midterms. So anyway, let's go ahead and get started with the Week 7 injury report. First people that I want to talk about are for the Ravens. Ray Rice has been listed as probable with an ankle injury, and Derek Mason has been listed as probable also with an ankle injury. These seem like the two biggest ones out of Baltimore, but they both seem pretty non-severe. I think that both of them will be good to play, so no need to rush for your waiver wire pool and get Willis McGahee or TJ Hushmanzada. It should be good there. Next up, the two quarterbacks out of Jacksonville, David Garrard and Trent Edwards. Now, Garrard is out. He's been already ruled out with a concussion. There's no way David Garrard is playing this week. Now, as for Trent Edwards, that's a little bit more tricky. He's been listed as questionable with the right thumb. I am going to say I'm going to say that Trent Edwards won't play either. I think that since the team went out and picked up Todd Bauman, I think that's a sign that they are willing and prepared to roll with him. So I think that Edwards is going to sit, so expect the start to go to Bauman. Or Bauman, I don't know how you pronounce it. Also at the Jags, you got Mike Sims-Walker, who is probable with a shoulder injury. He'll play, and even if he doesn't, but even if he does play, I wouldn't start him, seeing as how he's going to be targeted from Todd Bauman. So, actually, he might not even be targeted from Todd Bauman. I mean, he was rarely targeted from Garrard, so he might not be targeted from Bauman. For Kansas City, we have Chris Chambers, who... Wait, that's weird. He doesn't have a listing next to him. Apparently, he had some type of finger injury, but he participated fully in practice, so I guess he'll play, but oh, that's weird. Okay, then we have Jake Delhomme, who's still listed as doubtful with an ankle injury. I don't think this is his week just yet. I think that we'll have to wait for another week for him to come back. So, Colt McCoy will get the start. And I'm actually kind of surprised at how well he was doing in the last game. Then we have the two wide receivers that got decapitated by James Harrison. I would talk about that, but it makes me too freaking angry. Muhammad Massaquoi and Joshua Cribbs. Cribbs is going to start. He participated partially in practice, but he's poised to start. Massaquoi, on the other hand, did not practice. He's listed as doubtful. So I'd say Cribbs, yes. Massaquoi, no. Out of New Orleans, we have a bunch of people on the injury list here, including Drew Brees. I didn't even know that happened, but he's been listed as probable, but he participated fully, so he'll be good. But more interestingly, I guess, is Reggie Bush and Pierre Thomas still listed as out, so Christopher Ivory is going to be the big person to go pick up if he's not on your team yet. And also Julius Jones is probable with the shoulder injury. So that's 3 running backs that might not play. But I personally think that Jones will play. But yeah, Chris Ivory, if you haven't picked him up and he's still on your fantasy waiver wire pool, go pick him up. And also Jeremy Shockey has some type of illness. He was limited in practice, but he should be good by game time. Let's see here. Who is next? Vernon Davis out of San Francisco. Probable with a knee injury. He'll be good, but if he doesn't, that's not going to be a good thing because his backup Delaney Walker is listed as questionable. So that's not a good sign. But I still think that Vernon Davis will participate. He'll be good to go. Steve Smith from Carolina, probable with an ankle injury. He's already said there's no pain. He'll be fine. He'll be ready to go for next week. Or for this week against the 49ers. Next up, we have Ernest Graham, who was like Tampa Bay's big runner a couple of weeks ago. But it doesn't look like... I don't think that he'll be going. He looks like he's questionable with a hamstring injury. I'll say he doesn't start, but I don't think that he would have made that big of a contribution anyway. But more importantly from Tampa Bay is Kellen Winslow. probable knee injury. He'll play. He participated fully in practice. I think that he'll be ready to go. Michael Vick from the Eagles. I think that this is going to, he'll be good. I think that he'll be ready to play. Deshaun Jackson is out with a concussion. So that means that Jeremy Maclin and Jason Avant will get a lot more interesting. And so will another guy, Riley Cooper. A lot of people aren't really talking about him, but he moves up to the number 3 role that Jason Avant had. So if you're in a really deep league, I could suggest Riley Cooper. But this isn't a sleeper thing. This is an injury thing. So anyway, and I know that this thing that I'm about to say is not injury related, but Kenny Britt did not participate in practice, and he won't play in the game against the Eagles because he got into some type of bar fight or something. I don't know what happened, but Tennessee's looking into it, and right now they're saying that he is not going to be starting. Vince Young is questionable with the knee injury. I don't think that he'll get the start. I think that they're going to go with Kerry Collins. So that's not a good sign out of Tennessee. And also Justin Gage is questionable with a hamstring, but he participated in practice, so I think that Justin Gage will be fine. But even if he isn't, there's not really any reason to rely on Tennessee's passing attack this week. All right, Arizona, Steve Breston has finally been upgraded to questionable after who knows how long with a knee injury. So who knows? He might actually get the start. He had limited participation in practice, so I think that Breston has a decent shot of going, as does Early Doucette. So, yeah, but at the same time, Arizona is another team whose passing game does not need to be relied upon. They're still trying to transition Max Hall in. So, yeah, I don't think that we're going to be seeing. I don't think that we're going to be seeing them do anything in the passing game anytime soon. So, next up we have Wes Welker, who, okay, it's not saying what he's out for, but he was limited in practice. I don't think he's going to be a problem. Fred Taylor is still out with the toe injury, which means that Danny Woodhead and BenJarvis Green-Ellis are still the guys you're going to want to roll with at running back. San Diego they have a bunch of problems. Malcolm Floyd, Legadou Nene, both listed as doubtful with hamstring injuries, which means that you're going to need to rely on people like Patrick Creighton and Buster Davis. That's not a good sign, especially seeing as how Antonio Gates is questionable with a toe injury. And I know that I don't talk about kickers a lot on this show, mostly because kickers don't get hurt a lot, but Nate Kading is also going to be out. I think that they ended up signing somebody else. I'll leave an annotation as to who that person is right around here somewhere. Yeah, that's the guy you're going to want to go with, right here. Okay, next up, out of the Raiders, Chaz Schillens. He's still out. I thought for a second there that he might be close to coming back, but it doesn't look like it. Now, the quarterback situation in Oakland is just as confusing as the one in Jacksonville. Jason Campbell and Bruce Gradkowski are both listed as questionable. Gradkowski looks like he's going to be out. Campbell looks like he's going to be a game-time decision, which means that Kyle Bowler could very likely be the quarterback. But, again, why would you want to go to this team for quarterback help? Not going to help. They're not going to be good. And Darren McFadden is still questionable with a hamstring injury. I don't think he'll start. I think that Michael Bush will continue to get the carries. In Denver, Brandon Lloyd is on the injury list. It's not saying that... Well, actually, it's not injury related, but he didn't participate in practice, but I think that he'll be back in time for the game. Eddie Royal is questionable with a groin injury. He was limited in practice. I think that they'll sit him, seeing as how they have plenty of weapons at wide receiver. They can roll without him if they need to. Percy Harvin is probable with a hamstring injury. I think that he'll get the start. And Brett Favre is actually also probable with an ankle injury. But Brett Favre never misses a game. All right, he proved that last week when he played with the elbow tendonitis. I think that he'll be fine. Donald Driver is probable with a quadricep injury. Probable being the key word. He had limited participation in practice. I think he'll be good. Okay, finally, we're getting to the last game of the week. Hakeem Nicks, hamstring injury, didn't practice, and seeing as how the Giants haven't listed anybody as anything, that's kind of a problem. But I think that, I think that Hakeem Nicks will not play. Don't rely on him. And another kicker, Lawrence Tynes, he participated fully in practice, but he has some type of injury with his left ankle. I guess I guess he'll be fine. But they're not talking about that so much, so I don't really know. And finally, the last one is Des Bryant, who's probable with an ankle injury. Bryant will play. No need to worry about that. Okay, so that's Week 7's injury report. See you later.